If you want to truly understand how to think like a clinician rather than just a memorizer, the critical integrated map of measles is where everything connects into one powerful clinical story. Imagine a single patient arriving with fever and cough, but behind that simple presentation is a fully structured disease process that explains every symptom, every complication, and every nursing action in a logical sequence. Once you master this flow, measles stops being a list of facts and becomes a predictable pattern you can recognize instantly in practice. It starts with the definition and etiological foundation. Measles is an acute, highly contagious viral infection transmitted through airborne droplets. The most important clinical truth here is its extreme infectivity. Even brief exposure in a closed environment can lead to transmission. This immediately tells you why infection control is not just important but mandatory. The main at-risk groups include unvaccinated children under 5 years of age, malnourished individuals, and patients with weakened immunity. A simple clinical memory aid here is to think VOLN, which stands for vaccination status. Under 5 age group, low nutrition, and no immunity. These 4 factors dramatically increase risk and severity. Now move into history and early clinical clues. The disease usually begins with a history of exposure followed by a prodromal phase that looks like a simple respiratory infection. Patients present with fever, cough, coryza, and conjunctivitis. A powerful clinical mnemonic here is the 3 C's plus F, which stands for cough, coryza, conjunctivitis, and fever. This early stage is critical because the patient is already highly infectious even before the rash appears. This is where many outbreaks silently begin. Now we enter the core of CIM, the Pathophysiology, which is the engine behind all clinical findings. The virus enters through inhalation and attaches to respiratory epithelial cells. It begins replication locally and then spreads to regional lymph nodes. From there, it enters the bloodstream in primary viremia, silently disseminating to organs like the spleen, liver, and bone marrow. This phase is clinically deceptive because symptoms are still mild while the virus is spreading widely. As replication continues, a second and more aggressive wave occurs called secondary viremia. This is the turning point of the disease. The virus spreads to the skin, respiratory tract, and conjunctiva, leading to full clinical manifestation. This is where the immune system becomes highly active. T cells begin attacking infected cells, and this immune response is actually responsible for much of the visible damage. A key clinical concept to remember is immune-mediated injury, meaning the body's defense system is both protecting and contributing to symptoms. Now connect this to clinical manifestations in a logical flow. Fever occurs due to cytokine release during immune activation. The respiratory symptoms come from epithelial inflammation. Koplik spots appear in the mouth as early diagnostic markers due to viral replication in mucosal cells. Then comes the classic maculopapular rash, which starts on the face and spreads downward. A highly useful clinical phrase for students is face-to-feet progression, which helps differentiate measles from other viral rashes. This rash is not viral damage but a T-cell mediated immune response targeting infected endothelial cells. At this stage, complications become clinically important. The immune system is temporarily suppressed after measles infection, creating vulnerability to secondary bacterial infections. This is why pneumonia is one of the most common and dangerous complications. In severe cases, encephalitis can occur due to central nervous system involvement. In malnourished children or vitamin A deficient patients, severity increases significantly, which is why supplementation becomes a key part of management. Now integrate diagnosis and labs into the CIM framework. Diagnosis is primarily clinical based on symptom progression and rash pattern. Laboratory confirmation includes serology for measles-specific IgM antibodies and PCR testing for viral RNA in cases of suspected complications. Chest imaging may be required to evaluate pneumonia. The key clinical tip here is that measles is often diagnosed before lab confirmation based on pattern recognition. Now move into management, which connects directly back to pathophysiology. Since there is no specific antiviral cure, treatment is supportive. Fever is controlled using antipyretics like paracetamol. Hydration is essential to prevent fluid loss due to fever. Vitamin A supplementation plays a major role in reducing mortality and improving epithelial recovery. Antibiotics are only used if secondary bacterial infection develops. A useful clinical reminder is SHVIA, meaning supportive care, hydration, vitamin A, and antibiotics only if needed. Finally, nursing management brings the entire CIM together into real-world practice. Nurses implement airborne isolation immediately because measles spreads before diagnosis is confirmed. Continuous monitoring of vital signs helps detect early deterioration. Respiratory assessment is crucial to identify pneumonia early. Nutritional support and hydration must be maintained because patients often refuse oral intake due to illness. Eye care is important due to conjunctivitis, and skin care helps reduce discomfort from rash. Most importantly, patient and family education about vaccination is the final and most powerful preventive step. In special clinical situations, immunocompromised patients may not show the typical rash because their immune response is weak. But paradoxically, their disease is more severe because the virus replicates unchecked. This is a critical exam concept often tested in clinical reasoning questions. When you put everything together, CIM becomes more than theory. It becomes a mental map where definition leads to exposure. Exposure leads to infection. Infection leads to viremia. Viremia leads to immune response. Immune response leads to symptoms, and symptoms guide management and nursing care. Once you understand this flow, you no longer study measles as isolated facts. You see it as one continuous, predictable clinical journey that you can recognize, explain, and manage in real practice.